Good morning from Perranporth beach. Just finished my race not so long ago, down over where the purple tent is over there. Don't know if it will show up very well in the camera. Went really well. I am happy. I don't know the exact results yet, but I think I finished 20k along this coast in about 1 hour 55ish. But I can put the final results on the screen, I guess, when I come to editing. I'm just sat on the dunes for a moment, going to have some lunch, and then I will set off walking in that direction until I get to Newquay. Quite nice, just sat here for a bit, to be honest, but I do need to get going. So, since the last time I've been to Newquay, they have shuffled the bus routes and timetables around a bit. I think there are now buses that I can get from Newquay at about 5 and 7 hours from now, so I suppose we'll see how long it takes to get there. Hopefully there is some sort of bin along here. I got some lunch from one of the cafes on the street in Perranporth, back there somewhere. So I have like a coffee cup to dispose of. Very nice up here. So since I've started running a lot more often recently, on most days it's like I've now gone from eating 4 meals a day to 5 meals a day. It's kind of annoying, to be honest. But most of my meals are only small, so it's not really a big deal. But it's important to get the calories that I need to support exercise. I think it's been about a year since I went from 3 meals a day to 4, at least like effectively. I guess it's more like eating 4 times a day rather than 4 whole meals, but usually eating twice in the morning because I do a workout after my first breakfast and then have second breakfast. And then eat something at lunch, and then in the evening after I finish work. And then if I run in the evening, then eat something again after that. But I guess I found the whole process of like learning which foods are good for me to eat and how much I need to eat to maintain my weight or gain strength, depending on whether I'm like active that day or not. It's just been like a interesting process to go through. I guess the downside for me is that like I don't get that much variety in my meals anymore. Like I've pretty much figured out what works best, and then each week I'm generally eating the same sort of stuff on each day of the week. Like Monday, Tuesday each week will be very similar. Wednesday, Thursday will be very similar. Friday will be similar. Then Saturday, Sunday, because I'm off work, I'll cook something that takes a little more effort, I guess. But even then, it is generally very similar stuff. But for me, it's because I guess at this point it's kind of like I loosely track my macronutrients. I know vaguely what's going to be in my food in terms of protein, carbs and fat and fibre, if you count fibre. So I'll know what I'm aiming for, and then I'll buy ingredients based around that. Sometimes I wonder if like maybe I'm overthinking it a bit too much. But I don't know, in terms of health, I think in like the best place I've been possibly in my entire life. So whatever I'm doing is good. Certainly my fitness is now the best it's ever been. And that does have a lot to do with what I eat. I think, as they say, it's muscles are made in the kitchen or something like that. But more importantly to me, I feel good, I think. And even though I eat like similar stuff week on week, I don't get tired of the kind of foods that I eat, because I always eat stuff that I enjoy. I think I've learned how to cook better, in terms of using spices and things like that to flavour my food. kind of weird for me to think about, but for the first like 30 years of my life, I would never have eaten curry. I just didn't like it. But now that's like one of my favourite meals to make. So I don't know exactly where I'm going right now. I'm wandering through these dunes. As long as I'm going vaguely north, should be going in the right direction. I think it's been a while since I did a nice relaxing coastal walk. As I've mentioned, have been going like pretty hard on the running recently, but I've already done my running today so it's quite nice to just get out and walk on the trail. I think after you've done a run, it's like the best time to just go and experience something peaceful. Like walking out here right now, because you've just finished running, or well, I finished running almost 2 hours ago but I've still got like that runner's high, which just makes everything feel like 5 times better. If you don't really know about runner's high, it's, I think, in itself a very good reason to start running, because it is a real, like, physiological effect that happens in your body and it feels good. And I think if you like combine that with just being out in a nice place, like, it enhances that effect. So I love just coming out and walking like this anyway. But it's like that bit more enjoyable. Probably be easy to just think like, why? Why would you enjoy going out for a walk after running 20k along the coast? But I guess that is just what I enjoy. And at this point, I've got more than enough fitness to do it. When I first did this race last year, at that point I don't think I would have. Like, I would be capable of walking that whole distance, but I had only really just started running at the time. I wasn't used to like the difference in the level of energy expenditure between running and walking. I guess now, as I've got fitter, my body works more efficiently in using energy, so I don't feel quite so worn out after doing that run. Plus, because I've been used to doing long distances, even if it is only walking a lot of the time, I think that has helped me a lot with like recovering energy. Because I've been used to just like spending 10 hours walking or whatever. And I'm like by no means the fittest person or anything. I think I've still got a long way that I could go to improve my own fitness. But where I am right now is a very good place. Sign is a bit the worse for wear. So where am I? I don't even know. Is there a marker on here? You are here. Here I am. So we've got some Bronze Age barrows coming up, Iron Age castle, then there's Holywell Bay, Holywell. I always said Holywell, but I think it's Holywell. So that's what's coming up along here. Anyway, probably spent enough time this morning, or well, it's 11:59, so I'm still justified in saying this morning, rambling about health and fitness. So I guess I'll try and switch topics. But it's something that I do care about a lot over the last, well, almost 3 years. Put a lot of effort into improving my life, like the way I treat my body and trying to improve my outlook on life and all of those things. And I think that's kind of been life-changing for me, which is why I go on about it a bit sometimes. That will not be everyone's experience by any means, but that is the reason why sometimes I'll just go on about it for a while. I guess my closing statement would be the road to self-improvement is a very long and difficult one, but it is very much worth it and it's very rewarding. Wind is starting to pick up. Was really very calm this morning. Combination of being a bit high up at the moment and the wind is due to pick up throughout the day. Out to the edge here to get a look out along the coast. So that's Perranporth there. That is St Agnes. I started this morning in Portreath, which will be further down the coast there. Not sure exactly how far. This is not a coastline that I'm used to looking out along. See the Holywell dunes over there and the golf course. Should play a round of pitch and putt. I would have to do it very quickly, which somewhat would take the fun out of it, I guess. Anyway, don't want to spend too much time stopping and staring. So I haven't really seen anything to me that was immediately identifiable as Bronze Age barrows. I imagine they are a little inland, and I've been walking around the edge of the cliff, so may not have seen exactly where they are. But also, really all you would be seeing is a mound of earth, which is not that identifiable by nature anyway, really. Some of them stand out more than others. Some that I've seen in previous videos that I've made certainly were very obvious, but that's not always the case. There is quite a lot of stuff along this coastline, historic settlements and that, which they aren't really obvious to see, even if the remnants are still there. Me kind of forgetting to be recording. It's fine. Just coming down to Holywell now. I guess more walking through the dunes coming up. and it's made of sand. Double the fun. View back across Holywell and the rocks out there. I believe it's called Gull Rock. Seems like a relatively safe bet. There are plenty of rocks out in the sea that are called Gull Rock, it seems. Just like you could probably bet on there being a pub in most coastal towns called the Ship Inn. Or out around the county, I'm sure there are plenty of places called like the Cornish Arms, the Farmer's Arms, and so on. Seems a lot of things have very common names. Dwi'n meddwl fy mod I wedi dysgu Cymraeg ers mis Mawrth. Felly dwi'n gallu siarad Cymraeg yn dda eto. Dwi ddim yn gwybod. Gobeithio bydda i'n cyrraedd Tywyn Blistri am 20 munud wedi 4 o'r gloch mewn pryd I ddal y bws I Wadebridge. Tywyn Blistri. Dwi'n meddwl bod hi'n enw Cernyweg Newquay. I think it's something like that. Tywyn Blistri, I think. Anyway, I thought I would try to speak a little bit of Welsh quickly. I am still learning that, like, every day. I think my streak is back up to 70 something days now. Obviously it ended when I went to the Isles of Scilly because I was away for a few days. I didn't download the Duolingo app on my phone. But I'm still enjoying trying to learn a bit of that language. In October there will be Cornish courses starting, run by Exeter University, I think. It's like online classes, which I've been thinking about signing up for, but I'm a bit doubtful that I'll end up doing it, just because I don't know, it's not super convenient for me with the times that they're running, and I'm not sure really, though I'd really like to learn more of the Cornish language, whether there's much value in like paying to attend that course, because it has very little utility. A majority of the Cornish that I see is only very simple stuff, and it's usually accompanied by English translation, obviously. So, I don't know, it's kind of hard to see the value in it unless I were to be going along to like Cornish language speaking meetups and stuff, which there are some of those that run, but again, it's like the convenience of actually attending those is not great. I don't know, I think at this point it's like something I will continue to bear in mind for the future, but I'm kind of content with sticking with Welsh for the time being. I mean, I'm already like not quite having as much time as I'd like to put into just doing one language, so trying to juggle two languages, that's probably not really the right time for me to be doing that, especially if I was thinking of like actually taking exams or anything at the end of those courses, because that would require significant time investment, I suppose. Let's see, Newquay. It's not too far away. I think I've probably got like way more time than I thought I would be having on this walk. Not sure. Tide's been coming in, so I will need to walk up and around the river Gannel, which probably is a bit longer of a walk than I'm imagining it is. I don't think I'm exactly like pressed for time or anything. If I want to get that bus at 4:20, at least I think it's 4:20. If I show up and that's not the correct time, then I'm sure I will look somewhat of a fool, but I know the last one it's either 6:20 or 6:25, which is at least an improvement on the old bus times, because it used to be that the last bus of the day was 5:15, which seems like relatively early. I don't know what the statistics are on the usage of that service. It always seems not to be that busy when I've taken that bus, but I would have imagined that like Newquay to Wadebridge just after 5 o'clock would have been relatively popular service for people who live towards Wadebridge and work in Newquay. But then perhaps it sees more use than Monday to Friday, and I'm normally out on a Saturday. Again, I don't really know. The service operator would have much better knowledge than I do. So I mentioned earlier that there was like a bit of a shuffle of the bus services. I think what they've done, so there used to be a bus route that went from Newquay to Bude via Wadebridge, which was the bus that I was talking about. That seems to have been split into a Newquay to Wadebridge service, and I think Wadebridge to Bude is now a separate service. They have also, I think, introduced a new service from Wadebridge to Truro. Someone fishing down there. Interesting. Oh no. R.I.P. Mum. Sorry to hear about that person's mother. Can I see in the distance Traverse Head Lighthouse? Don't think it's quite clear enough to see it. I might be able to see it. No, I think even with my corrected eyesight, it's not quite good enough to make out anything more than perhaps a little white smudge over there. Anyway, what was I saying? Something about bus services. Yeah, I guess it's just good to know that there's like a relatively easy route down to Truro now. And the times have slightly changed on the routes to Newquay to times that for me personally are probably a bit more convenient. Is that boat over there? I think so. But yeah, we'll see if I'll be making use of those buses in the future. I imagine I will. I mean, today I will be getting the bus, which is the new Newquay to Wadebridge route. But perhaps there would be something down towards Truro that would be worth getting the bus to one day. Need to have a look at like exactly where that bus actually stops, because I'm not sure. I think it's like the same route as the Newquay one up until St. Column, and then it will just go south rather than going in towards the coast. But maybe there's some place of interest that would be worth visiting one day, that would be more easily accessible along that route. Today I brought with me the Old Faithful protein bar and seeded oatcakes. That has got me through many a 25 to 30k walk. That used to be like my food of choice pretty much every time I went out walking last year. Lately I've been way more likely to pick things like dried fruit or sandwiches or like flapjacks. But then I've been doing a lot more running, so I guess it's been easier for me to pick things that are like quite high energy and immediate energy, as opposed to like protein bars or oat cakes, which are whole grain stuff, which is not really like an immediate energy release, but it's more than enough to keep me going if I'm walking. I can definitely see the lighthouse now. It's clearing up a little bit. It's actually a really nice day. It's not hot like it has been in the last couple of weeks, but it's a very nice late September day. Very enjoyable to be out in it. Anyway, I'll finish my oatcakes and continue walking. You could make like one of those tier lists of the different kind of oatcakes. S tier, seeded oatcakes, or fruit and seed oatcakes. A tier, plain oatcakes. B tier, cheese oatcakes. I don't know. I do like a good oatcake. It's... oh, there's a seal down there. Difficult for me to justify not just putting them all in S tier. But I guess if I were going by like nutritional value, probably the seedy ones or the plain ones would be at the top. The fruit ones obviously have a bit more sugar content because they're made to be a little more sweet, I guess, to appeal to people who like fruity biscuits or whatever. And the cheese ones will have a bit of a higher fat content. But I guess the cheese ones are still fine. I think they're made like a bit thinner so that they work out the same in calories. I've only had the cheese ones once. They kind of taste like cheese biscuits, which I suppose is what they are. But I mean cheese biscuits, like mini cheddars, that sort of thing. Is the seal coming back up this time? Or has it found something down there? There it is. Been a while since I got a good look at a seal, so it's another thing to be happy about today, I guess. It's been a very good day so far. nice to listen to an audiobook or something while I'm walking out around this coastline. I never really do that when I'm filming though. Which has made it a lot more difficult to get through as many audiobooks this year as I did last year when I didn't have a camera. But oh well. The latest 2 books that I listened to were from the same author. I think Natalie Haynes, I think was the name. First one was about women in the Greek myths. Was kind of discussing different women, how their stories change depending on who's writing them, what their characters were like, and so on. I thought that was pretty interesting. The second book was a retelling of Medusa's story, written mainly from Medusa's perspective. Thought that was also a pretty interesting listen. I think the next books that I've got lined up at the moment are a couple of Adrian Tchaikovsky books. Last year I listened to the Children of Time series by Adrian Tchaikovsky. I think the first book in that series, which is called Children of Time, that was a really, really good book. It's been a while since I listened to it, so I'm not sure how well I can summarise the plot. But it's like humanity was trying to seed a planet with life and release this virus that is meant to uplift the life on that planet, which means to like speed up its evolution. But instead of the virus being released to, I think it was supposed to be primates or monkeys, it was released to spiders. So it's like half of the book is told from the spiders' perspective as they go through their accelerated evolution, and the other half is like the remnants of humanity who have found this planet as being inhabitable and want to go to live there. But I thought that was a really interesting book. It was quite well written. The second 2 books in that series, they're also good, but I don't think they quite hit the same level as the first one. I guess the second was quite similar because it was dealing with like the evolution of like it's octopuses, octopodes, whatever the plural is supposed to be. But also like oh, how do you describe it? This other organism that they found on a planet which has like a collective consciousness. That would basically infect other creatures and bring them into that collective consciousness sort of thing. And then the third book was, I'm not sure how to describe it. It was like set on this planet where the further you get into the book, it's like the less things really made sense. But it turned out in the end that it was all like a simulation or something. It's been a while since I listened to it, so my recollection of the plot is not perfect. But I think that series is definitely worth like reading or listening to. So I've heard good things about the one that I've downloaded to listen to next. So I'm hoping that will also be interesting. Very conscious of the fact that I overuse the word interesting, but I think from me, like, describing something as interesting is quite a high compliment. I do need to be more creative in my word choice though. Maybe I could say engaging instead, or profound. Enthralling, captivating. I think to some extent these are the sort of things I mean when I say interesting. It's just an easier word to use. It's more widely understood. It doesn't look like the river is high today. I don't know if the tide is back on the way out. Did not check the tide times. Coming down towards the beach, I guess, here at Perranporth. Newquay is just the other side of the river there. Really not far away in a straight line. But if I walk all the way down along the river, it's a lot further than it looks, I guess. Oh, sand dunes. Looks like the tidal bridge over there is accessible. So I could go that way. Maybe a risk of wet feet. Or walk up the river. I think there might be another bridge as well, somewhere along there. Would have been nice to come this way a bit more in the summer. Not that we had much of a summer this year. I think it'd be quite pleasant walking along here with like more of the plant smells and everything. I think the beach back there would probably be quite nice as well, when it's hot. Do need to hop over this little stream. So where is the best place to go about this? Just here it looks like. So I crossed over into Newquay now. Walk up the coast path, up the hill to the headland. I think I've been to Newquay like a fair few times this year in my videos. Now up on the headland. It's a bit windy up here. But yeah, I'm just gonna wander about a bit up here, just chill out. But yeah, now I'm over in Newquay. This is nothing that hasn't been seen before in my videos. So I think it's probably a good spot for me to end the video. Hope you enjoyed my little walk from Perranporth to Newquay. It was a nice walk following the race this morning.